It's Teacher Earl, a grade school tutor here in the Seed Learning.
Hi, I'm Teacher Tin from the Seed Learning.
Hi, I'm Teacher Sheena from the Seed Learning.
Hi, I'm Teacher Meg from the Seed Learning.
Hi, my name is Teacher Len.
Hi everyone, I'm Teacher Laika from the Seed Learning.
Hi, my name is Teacher Toshka from the Seed Learning.
I know how difficult it is to study under the current online setup, and so I guess it kind of motivated me to provide fun yet educational online learning experiences for my students.
For me, my students, yay! As soon as they enter our Zoom class and I open the camera, they look so excited to start our day together, and that keeps me going.
Despite the online setup, what really motivates me to keep teaching, aside from, of course, my students themselves and my love for teaching, is seeing how much they progress and how much they grow throughout our time together. It's so fulfilling to see them improve, not only in terms of their reading or writing or counting or even the science skills. I see them also progress in terms of their focus and their love for learning, and even in terms of being more mindful towards others and themselves.
It always goes back to the children, always goes back to the students. Whenever I think about their need and the way that they are also having to deal with this pandemic, this situation, in the same way that we are, maybe it's even harder for them because they have less control over what happens to them. Whenever I think about that and how much potential they still have, that's what motivates me. Even if online teaching is so challenging, it's so difficult, thinking about the kids is always what brings me back and makes me want to keep going. The beauty of it actually is also, despite the many challenges we face because of the pandemic and online learning, there are some upsides as well. So being able to reach students from different corners of the Philippines, maybe even the world, it's been wonderful to be able to have that reach and that range. So it's a mixed bag, definitely. But like I said earlier, it's always the students, always the children that keep us going, that keep teachers teaching.
What motivates me the most about teaching despite the current situation is really the children. Without the kids, I probably would have a very difficult time being a teacher. Being able to offer a helping hand to families, I think, is a motivating factor for me. And also seeing that the kids really enjoy the company of not just me as their teacher, but of their friends as well that they see virtually on the screen. I think I find that really motivating, and it keeps me going, honestly. Like, it keeps me excited to go to class, seeing them smile and seeing them get excited over the songs that we sing, excited over the activities that we are about to do for that day. So yeah, definitely the kids.
So I think the hardest part about teaching online would be keeping my students engaged all the time. We all know how difficult it is to be engaged even in the face-to-face classes. What more in our current online setup, diba? So I try my best to make each class lively and engaging so that my students can get the most out of each session.
Hearing from my students and from their parents that they want to go to the physical classrooms and meet their friends and their teachers, and we can't do anything about it. I know it's almost 2 years since the pandemic had started, and it still is one of the hardest part about teaching online, because we can't give any solutions on our own.
At first, of course, I was a bit reluctant to teach online given how hard it is to maintain an engaging atmosphere in class in our online setup. But I think the hardest part would be when the kids get really distracted and they start leaving the computer or the laptop and they just roam around. And of course, when this happens, you just have to rely on the parent or their caregiver or whoever is with them during class to physically draw them back in. But over time, you really learn how to be more patient with it, and you learn more about the kid to keep the class really engaging, and you learn about their interests, and you learn how to talk to them. So I think over time, it becomes easier also.
I think for me, the biggest challenge is being able to maintain my progressive beliefs and progressive values, progressive education, while implementing or teaching online. Because being online in general, that's not what progressive education, in my opinion, was made for. We're meant to be working hands-on with the children. The interactions are meant to be real-time, physical, and in person. And not having that has been very challenging, which, to say nothing of the logistical concerns like internet connection, electricity, all that stuff also poses an extra challenge. But really what I long for is to be back in the classroom with children, because that's really where I draw strength and energy from. When I'm in the classroom, it's easy to be flexible, to adapt to any change that you need to right in the moment. But with online teaching, it's much trickier because you need to have everything planned beforehand. Materials, even your presentation and everything, and it's not as easy to change midway. So that's something we're all definitely still figuring out.
The most challenging part about teaching online is definitely that lack of physical access to the children. I think that's the most difficult part because compared to being in a classroom where you get to see nonverbal cues and you get to have like those precious intimate interactions with each of your students outside of activities, not having that during online class is definitely very challenging because it makes teaching very structural, quite rigid, where you can't really have room to enjoy the moment. You can't have much room to just run around, roam around, and be free with your students. Where back then, before the pandemic, we were able to do that, given that we had school for half a day and we had all this time to, aside from our activities and the structure that we had in the classroom, we also had time to play with each other and to give each other hugs and stuff. So I think not having that is definitely one of the most challenging things with teaching online.
I got my most memorable teaching experience when I was facilitating the Reading Pods book club. In one of our sessions, I got so many unexpected answers from my children. And by then, I learned that even we adults need to listen to children sometimes. And maybe it would even help us to view the world in a child's perspective.
For me, the most memorable so far was when one of the parents actually told me that their child was looking for me even outside of our online synchronous class. And it was memorable because it means that my student liked me as a teacher. Yay!
I believe I've made so many memorable experiences from teaching with the Seed Learning with so many students. But I believe that one of the most memorable ones are probably the ones when the children really express how much they love having class, how much they have fun, how much they really appreciate our activities and our lessons in class. And even the parents, when they say that they see how much their children progress and how much they see them connect with me, those are really the things that make all of the difficulties and all of the hard work in teaching online really, really worth it.
I think it would have to be teaching or facilitating an arts and crafts workshop with the Seed Learning. I really enjoyed being with a group of children again, even if it was online, and it was very rewarding to see how everyone was still able to use their creativity and express themselves even if we weren't together and I couldn't physically assist them like I would in a normal setup.
Pandemic teaching is definitely an experience that I will never forget. Having to deal with coronavirus and not being able to go outside and work and be with children on a regular school day is something that I find quite memorable as a teacher. I think another lesson that I learned from teaching during the pandemic and teaching online and virtually is to appreciate the mundane things or the little things that happen on a daily basis between me and my students during class. During the pandemic, it's quite hard to really be grandiose about your achievements. Learning to see the beauty in the small things was something that I really learned as a teacher, and now every time we get to have small wins between me and my students, it's something that is memorable for me.
This pandemic has brought us so many challenges to everyone. Us teachers are also affected because we miss the actual face-to-face play, tight hugs, and spontaneous activities with the children. I find it really memorable when these gestures are also shown virtually, at least. A virtual heart, or hug, or even a flying kiss from the kids. These things keep us motivated. So we just keep on pushing and striving our best to be there for the young learners.